lines between fact and fiction. That includes false accusations about what he says Joe Biden will do if elected president to Trump's beloved border wall.
We have already built 300 miles of border wall, and we are adding 10 new miles every single week. The wall will soon be complete. The Biden plan would eliminate America's borders in the middle of a global pandemic, and he's even talking about taking the wall down. How about that?
False. Biden has only called to stop further building it, which has only actually seen 5 miles of new walls since Trump became president. While Trump has not made as much progress on the border wall as he let on, his administration has made it nearly impossible to seek asylum in the U.S., using the coronavirus as an excuse to turn away people at the border, even children, without due process. He's also still trying to kill DACA, despite the Supreme Court ruling against him in June, and his administration is still separating migrant families. But the RNC Tuesday painting a different picture, featuring Trump presiding over a naturalization ceremony at the White House. The Wall Street Journal reported that at least 2 of the people who were naturalized didn't realize it was going to be used for this purpose. As backlogs leave hundreds of thousands of immigrants awaiting their own naturalization ceremonies, the Tuesday showing was widely called a stunt, trying to soften Trump's 4-year attack on immigration. With me now is Alida Garcia. She's the founder and director of coalitions and policy at forward.us. Also with me, Lindsay Toczylowski. She's the executive director of the Immigrant Defenders Law Center. All right, Alida, I know you were watching that naturalization ceremony. Who was that for? Who was the intended audience of that naturalization ceremony?
I mean, anyone who lives in a state of illusion, because who was performing that naturalization ceremony was a legally acting director, Chad Wolf, one of the architects of family separation, who is currently actively trying to take down the DACA program. The people there did not even know that they were going to be broadcasted while having this intimate, triumphant achievement of becoming American citizens over the course of the RNC. And then lastly, the thing that was so outrageous about this, Alicia, was that about 3 days before this, maybe 2 days, it all merges these days, USCIS, the agency that processes applications for people to become citizens in the United States, had to get bailed out by the United States Congress because Chad Wolf, Donald Trump, Stephen Miller, Ken Cuccinelli have ran that agency into the ground, blocking people from becoming citizens in the U.S. So the whole thing was a sham, but what's most important is that we understand what they are proactively doing right now, as you mentioned, attacking the DACA program and continuing to separate families, harming young children, asylum seekers at the border every single day right now.
Lindsay, part of what struck me as I was watching this live was that you had that naturalization ceremony, and then a few speeches later, you had an entire section of a speech about law and order, about immigration and doing immigration the right way, about how we are not a country if we don't have borders. And so what it seemed to me was that they were still trying to exist within this framework of illegal immigration bad, legal immigration good. Where that misses the mark is that this is an administration that has also made changes to legal immigration.
Absolutely. I mean, we have seen this administration attack every single aspect of immigration, whether it's people coming here on work visas or people coming here to legally seek asylum. And that is so important to remember. Seeking asylum is legal. But right now, under this administration, what that looks like when somebody comes to our border and seeks asylum is there is no actual system to enter. It's impossible for people to even begin the process because the asylum protection system has been completely dismantled. Just this weekend, I was assisting a family where their 12-year-old disabled child, who is largely nonverbal, attempted to come and seek asylum in the United States. That family couldn't find this child. By the time I finally located where he was, I found out that like 3,000 other children that this has happened to, the administration with no due process, no judge seeing what happened, no advocate or lawyer being allowed to talk to the child, had expelled him back to his home country, to a place where he fears return. That's what the reality is. So what we saw on the screen this week was really a delusional show, as Alita mentioned. But the reality is much more grim and much more dangerous.
Alita, what does it tell you that the president's acceptance speech was written, at least in part, by Stephen Miller?
Well, I'd much rather Stephen Miller write the president's speeches than immigration policy, because he's a Senate comms aide turned maniacal policy director who is harming children every single day, like Lindsay has outlined. You know, and I think from the inauguration speech to now, not a lot has changed. It has been a lot of darkness, a lot of racism, a lot of painting people of color in the United States as criminals in order to fool the American public into enacting harmful policies that are about remaking America in whiteness, which is what they want. And so, you know, I think he has many jobs. I think he has too many jobs, but I think he's a pretty bad speechwriter. But I'm most concerned about how much influence he has in harming these children every day as family separation continues.
Alita and Lindsay, thank you both. So now that the RNC is over, how do Democrats respond? We'll talk about how they plan to set the record straight next.